I do think you can save a little bit of optics winning a key division game against a rival, as down as they are as well. I want to see continued maturation with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that's a silver lining to build off. If you can do that, you buy yourself a little bit of time to try to build off of it in 2025. But buckle up, because if they lose next week, you're going to have this fan base as riled up as they are right now, and rightfully so. Like, crank it up to 11. It's not going to be pretty for K1. Looking ahead, Bo Brock, to next week, Arizona Cardinals finale. Do they complete the collapse of epic proportions and fall to 1-6, or can Kyler Murray have some semblance of a productive game, multiple touchdowns, to try to salvage this collapse? Like, what's on the line in the finale for the Arizona Cardinals of 2024?
Yeah, I mean, it's one last opportunity to flush a brutal loss, which they've piled up here both by at an alarming rate, right? Yeah. And you've got, a team in the 49ers that's going to take a pretty big beating tomorrow from the Lions, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What do we know about teams that play the Lions? It's a physical game, and they're already kind of just injury plagued this season. The Cardinals are going to have a chance to take on an even worn down 49ers team. With only one more week to go is one more opportunity for these Cardinals to chip away. I'm not saying completely change the narrative, but if they can come out and translate, good yardage performance offensively, but also find pay dirt, to the tune of 30 points, I think you can say, hey, where's this been? It's not like they've already done so much that's been damning to this offensive group up to this point, but can they kind of weather it to an extent? Are they trying to shield themselves from a hurricane with a newspaper probably at this point? But we saw what we thought could have happened at the end of tonight's game. They still have a chance to do that one more time against the Niners team. But if you lose, I think it does far more damage than of course, if you win in the final game.
I just think the optics of not only going 1-6, but 0-4 in your last 4 division games after starting 2-0.
Yeah.
The fact that the Niners clearly have packed it in. They're putting Trent Williams on IR. Greenlaw is gone. Bosa's been hurt. No Ayuk, right? Like, if you let Deebo Samuel come into your building, tear you up.
No, it's more Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, Deebo had a good game last week. Here's what I'll say. Cardinals have been much better at home than on the road. They've only won 2 road games this year. They're guaranteed to have a winning record at home this year, but we know Niner fans travel well. I just think if you're Kyler Murray, do you let this game fester, or do you have the kind of the gumption to go out and make a lasting impression for Monty Ossenfort? Because that's who you're trying to impress right now. You're a new boss. Everybody's had it at their employer at one point or another. You're trying to impress the guy who cuts the checks and the guy that didn't sign your contract once upon a time. When they're trying to figure out how to make this team bust collapse-proof at the end of 2025 and try to avoid this, are you part of the solution or are you part of the problem? And again, you've already blown the opportunity once upon a time at 6-4 to have a winning record this year. I just think the optics of losing basically out, sans the Patriots game, you're looking at massive repercussions, trickle-down effect, regardless of how terrible ass these quarterbacks are in both the draft and free agency. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is assured. No good vibes. It's going to be as cutthroat as imaginable. I do think you can save a little bit of optics winning a key division game against a rival, as down as they are as well. I want to see continued maturation with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that's a silver lining to build off. If you can do that, you buy yourself a little bit of time to try to build off of it in 2025. But buckle up, because if they lose next week, you're going to have this fan base as riled up as they are right now, and rightfully so. Crank it up to 11. It's not going to be pretty for K1.
You go 8-9, and you go 3-3 in the division. It looks way better than going 7-10 and 2-4. In riding that, as you pointed out, with
there'll be no good vibes from this year if they lose.
Not
next
at all.
Week.
You've set those ablaze. You burn them to the ground, and can Kyler throw 3 touchdowns and get to 20 on the season? There are things that you can cosmetically clean up.
Yeah.
But luckily, I trust that the decision makers are are going to still look at those with a critical eye. Like, the damage is done. But, I think as far as the draft pick, and as we looked at, Tankathon and where the Cardinals are and just how brutal the teams are in front, like the chances to move up really don't mean anything, right? I mean,
no.
And, playing a third place schedule versus a fourth place schedule, it really is. I think you can create more goodwill, and you're grading on a curve here because of all the goodwill you've lost. But if you can create any goodwill, that's a positive for this team going into the 2025 offseason.